Listen, when it comes to relationships and people who you should allow access into your life, you should always be able to discern the intention and the motive that's driving them. Okay? You should always be able to discern the intention and the motive that's driving them. And by being able to discern the motive, you can discern if they're genuine or if they actually care about you or not. Now, say, I'm going to give you you guys a couple examples. Say, for example, you meet a woman and you start dating her. Okay, and now she pretends like she loves you, like she cares for you. She pretends like she really likes you. She's really interested in you. But then she starts going on and talking about how she's been in a season where she's felt so lonely. She's been in a season where she's felt depressed and discouraged, and she's trying to figure out life. Right there is a red flag. Why is that? Because that woman could just be using you to fill an empty void because of her loneliness. She's drawing you and she's attracted to you because she's been in a season where she's lonely and depressed. So now she's using you to fill a void. She's using you to distract herself from how lonely she is, and a void that can only be filled by God and by purpose, which is going to end up leading her to actually being abusive towards you. Okay, because as soon as she feels like you're no longer filling that void of loneliness, she's going to start either taking advantage of you, or she's going to start treating you differently. She's going to start respecting you less. She's not going to take you as serious. She's going to pretend like she doesn't like you anymore. Or maybe she's not pretending like she doesn't like you. She never did like you, and she's pretending like she liked you. But because now you're no longer filling the void of loneliness, her attention goes elsewhere, and you'll realize that she never actually loved you. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about is most relationships in this generation, you'll notice, are built off of witchcraft and trauma bonds. Witchcraft and trauma bonds. How can I say this? Because a lot of people have been in broken and toxic relationships. A lot of people in this generation are traumatized from relationships, and they have unhealed trauma, and they choose to ignore it. And this is why people become so toxic, dysfunctional, abusive. They have behaviors and triggers that absolutely get in the way of and interfere with all of their future relationships and their ability to give and receive love. So say, for example, a woman just got out of a 2-3 year relationship with her ex-boyfriend. The man betrayed her. He beat on her. He abused her. He cheated on her. Now this woman is emotionally broken, but she chooses to ignore that brokenness. So now all she wants to do is go find another man. So now you could be that man that she's trying to use to fill that void. You could be the man that she's trying to use to get over her ex-boyfriend. You could be that man that she's trying to use to distract herself and ignore the fact that she's emotionally broken and she actually needs healing. She's using you to distract herself. Okay, because she doesn't want to face the ugly truth. She doesn't want to face her brokenness. And also, she feels powerless when she's alone. Now she's emotionally broken, so to feel like she's somebody, to feel like she's beautiful, to feel like she's enough, she has to still be getting attention from another man. Now, how can you identify this in a woman? All right? How can you identify this in a woman? There's a few things that you should look at. Does she always still talk about her ex? Is she always gossiping and slandering him? Every time the topic of her ex-boyfriend comes up, does her whole entire mood and behavior start to change? You guys could be out somewhere having fun, having a great time. You think you guys are hitting it off. This girl is really interested in me. And as soon as he calls, she picks up the phone and her entire mood begins to change. Her attitude begins to shift. Her entire emotional state and her mental state of mind is controlled by this man. These are things that you have to be able to identify. Now, you have to understand, when somebody is carrying emotional baggage, when they're carrying unresolved brokenness, they have demons from that brokenness. And all of that brokenness, if it goes unresolved, it has to latch itself on to another person. Because those demons that attach to people from their trauma, those demons have to be fed to stay alive, right? So therefore, they have to use people to stay alive. Now, this is what also creates codependency. And it also causes people to become very abusive. So now this person is trying to attach their emotional baggage onto you, and now they become an emotional burden to you, and you begin to feel the heaviness and the weight of that emotional baggage that they're carrying. Now all their triggers, the dysfunction, the behavioral patterns, the anger and the bitterness and the resentment that she feels toward her ex-boyfriend, you are going to get that wrath as well. Yeah. And this is why she's going to end up becoming very psychologically and emotionally and verbally abusive to you. She's going to have trust issues. She's going to accuse you, jump to conclusion. And she's going to anticipate and expect that you're going to be just like him. And it's funny because it's like, if you think I'm going to be just like him, why do you want to be with me? Well, they have to be with somebody because that empty void has to be filled by something. Are y'all with me on today? These are all ways that you can identify the intention and the motive behind why is this person, why do they want access? Why does this person, like, are they being led by the Holy Spirit? Is this relationship, are we being brought together by the Holy Spirit, or are we being brought together by trauma and by familiar spirits? Because then now your triggers and her triggers begin to rise up, and boom, it ends up being a huge explosion. Right? And now your demons and her demons are just constantly fighting against each other. And what is this doing? It's just creating more trauma, more demons on top of more emotional baggage, because people need to heal first. Just wanted to give y'all a little wisdom nugget on today. I love y'all and God bless. Come on, let's get it.